Adolf Hitler, a name that echoes through history as a symbol of tyranny, destruction, and war. His story is one of extraordinary rise and catastrophic downfall. How did a failed artist, a soldier with shattered dreams, rise to absolute power in one of the most advanced nations in the world? And how did his vision for a 1,000-year Reich collapse in just 12 years, leaving behind ruins, death, and lessons humanity must never forget? Adolf Hitler was born in 1889 in Braunau am Inn, Austria. As a young man, he struggled to find purpose. Twice rejected by the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, he lived in poverty, selling postcards and drifting through life. When World War I broke out in 1914, Hitler enlisted in the German army. The trenches shaped him. He found belonging, discipline, and a cause to fight for. He was wounded, decorated for bravery, and deeply embittered by Germany's defeat in 1918. The Treaty of Versailles, which imposed heavy penalties on Germany, would ignite his hatred and fuel his political ambition. After the war, Germany was in crisis. Economic collapse, political instability, and national humiliation. Hitler joined the small German Workers' Party, transforming it into the National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazi Party. With fiery speeches, he captivated crowds, blaming Jews, communists, and the Versailles Treaty for Germany's suffering. His failed coup in 1923, the Beer Hall Putsch, landed him in prison, but from his cell, he dictated Mein Kampf, a manifesto outlining his racist ideology, expansionist dreams, and vision for a totalitarian state. By the late 1920s, Germany was struck by the Great Depression. Unemployment soared, and people looked for strong leadership. Hitler promised jobs, pride, and national revival. In 1933, he was appointed chancellor. Within months, he eliminated opposition, silenced critics, and built a brutal dictatorship. The Nazis burned books, controlled the press, and created a cult of personality around Hitler, the Führer. Germany's fragile democracy was dead. Hitler's ambitions stretched far beyond Germany. He rearmed the nation in defiance of Versailles, remilitarized the Rhineland, annexed Austria, and demanded territory in Czechoslovakia. Europe's leaders, desperate to avoid war, appeased him. But Hitler's hunger for conquest was insatiable. On September 1, 1939, Germany invaded Poland. World War II had begun. In the early years of the war, Hitler seemed unstoppable. His blitzkrieg tactics overwhelmed Poland, France, and much of Europe. Nazi flags flew over Paris, and Hitler envisioned his Reich dominating the continent. But behind the victories lay horrors, concentration camps, persecution of Jews, and the beginnings of the Holocaust. Hitler's greatest mistake was invading the Soviet Union in 1941. At first, the German army advanced deep into Russian territory, but the brutal winter, fierce resistance, and Hitler's refusal to retreat led to disaster at Stalingrad in 1943. Meanwhile, the Allies invaded North Africa, Italy, and later Normandy. The war was turning against Hitler. By 1945, Germany was collapsing. Allied bombs reduced cities to rubble. The Soviets closed in on Berlin. In a bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery, Hitler raged at his generals, refusing to accept defeat. On April 30, 1945, with Soviet forces just blocks away, Adolf Hitler took his own life. The man who once dreamed of a 1,000-year Reich was gone in just 12. The rise and fall of Adolf Hitler is a cautionary tale. It shows how desperation, anger, and fear can allow dangerous leaders to rise. His legacy is not greatness, but destruction. Tens of millions dead, nations scarred, and unspeakable crimes committed. Remembering his rise is painful, but necessary, because only by studying the past can we prevent history's darkest chapters from repeating.